Good morning, students. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Rahul Kumar, and I have over 5 years of experience teaching at respected and dynamic schools as an English educator. And I am super excited to be here with all of you today. And dear student, you know what? I love teaching English because it's like a treasure chest full of amazing words and ideas that can help us to understand and talk to each other in very wonderful ways. And now I know that each of you has your own favorite game or a story, right? Well, learning English is just like playing game or going on an adventure. Today we are going to discover new words, sing songs, have a lots of fun together. So let's dive into our topics. Imagine you are painting a picture. Instead of colors, you are using words. Wouldn't you want your picture to be very beautiful, vivid and expressive? That's exactly what figure of speech do with language. They transform ordinary sentences into magical expressions and that capture attentions, evoke emotions and leave a lasting impressions. Getting my point or not? So today we are going to dive into a world where words have all personalities. They can exaggerate, tease, compare, even come alive. So have you ever said, I am so hungry I could eat a horse? Or do you really mean it? For examples, if I said, a speech is silver and silence is golden, honesty is the best policy, it was the roast of time, it was the waste of time. What do you think about these sentences? Are they literal or not? Means, how do these sentences make you feel? Let me explain first. These are the example of the figure of a speech. Dear student, if I ask to you what do you mean by figure of a speech, how do you answer it? Let me explain first. Figure of speech is a creative expression used to convey the meaning or enhance the language by departing from its literal forms. Their work is add the beauty in the language and make the ideas vivid and expressive. Also engage the audience emotionally. So figure of speech can be broadly categorized into flowing types. Very first, figure of comparison, in that simile and the metaphor. Figure of contrast, antithesis, oxymoron and irony. Figure of emphasis, hyperbole. Figure of sound, alliteration, assonance, onomatopoeia. Figure of indirectness, euphemism. Figure of wit or humor, pun and paradox. Figure of imaginations, personifications and apostrophe. Today in this scenario we will explore some common types of the figure of a speech like similes, metaphor, personification, hyperbole, antithesis and much more. And each figure of a speech bring a twist language. So let's make it more exciting and memorable. With very first, similes. What do you mean by simile? Simile is also figure of a speech that compares two different things using the words like or as. Getting my point or not? And it emphasizes similarities between two unrelated concepts and their purpose is create the sentence vivid and mental image by highlight similarities. For examples, her smile was like sunshine means imagine a cheer and bright full smiles that warms your heart just like sunshine warms the earth. This simile also emphasizes the happiness of her smiling. Getting my point or not? He ran like a tortoise means this simile emphasizes someone slow speed to a tortoise. Means it's a funny way to say they were very slow. Next, she is very beautiful like the moons. Remember, moon is often considered a symbol of beauty and serenity, and by comparing her to the moon, we highlight her calm and radiant beauty. Getting my point or not? Next, her face turned as red as a tomato means here again comparison someone's face of the pleadiness to a ripe tomatoes means usually implying when we feel embarrassment, heat and anger. Also sigh. Next, she sings like a nightingale means you know that nightingale is a very famous for its melodious voice and this simile is emphasis and raise someone singing and compared with the word sweet songs. Next is Ashoka fought the war as bravely as a lion means you all of you know that lions are known for their courage and strength. And here this simile shows Ashoka's fearless and valiant nature in the battle. Now next, she is as busy as a bee means all of you know that dear student, bees are constantly working, buzzing from flower to flowers means this simile describes someone who is hard working and always on the move. Next is metaphor. So, dear student, what do you mean by metaphor? Metaphor is a figure of a speech. It is the direct and hidden comparison between two unrelated concepts, using not without using the words like or as for examples, and their purpose is make the sentences animate, vivid, and relatables. Dear student, now I am going to talking about the metaphor. What do you mean by metaphor? A metaphor is a hidden or direct comparison between two unrelated things, and their purpose is provide a deeper meaning and encourage the reader to think creatively. For example, the camel is the sheep of desert. Means all of you know that the camels are called sheep of desert because they carry people and good across the sandy vast ocean of the desert, much like ships on water. Next, Ahsoka was lion in the fight. Getting my point or no? Means here calling a Ahsoka lion emphasizes his bravery and dominance in the battle, much like the king of the jungles. Getting my point or not? And the next, time is money. All of you know that. And this metaphor also suggests that time is as valuable as money. If you waste your time, you lose the opportunity to achieve something important. And the next example, your love is a treasure I found, means here compare the love from a treasure chest, means something very valuable and rare, or that one is lucky to discover. Dear student, I am going to talking about the personifications. What do you mean by personification? Let me explain first. Personification attribute the human qualities to non-humans, animals, objects or ideas, and their purpose is make the sentences animate, relatable and vivid. For example, the wind whispered through the trees. Can you believe it? The wind does not literally whispered. Getting my point or not? This personification describes the gentle sound of the wind. Getting my point or not? And believe it, flower dance in the breeze? No, flowers do not dance in the breeze. Their parts swing in the wind are described in a lively humans-like way. Next, justice is blind. Can you believe it? Here, justice is portrayed as a person who is blindfolded. Impartiality, it's symbolizing it does not see the wealth, identity, and power. Getting my point or not? Now, next example is the fire has swallowed the whole forest. Can you believe it again? No. Here, the fire given the human ability to swallow, which means this personification emphasizes how quickly and completely fire consumes everything. Getting my point or not? And next, the stars were playing hide and seek with the clouds. Can you believe it? Not suggest that a stars appearing and disappearing behind the moving clouds. Getting my points or not? Now I'm going to talking about the hyperbole. What do you mean by hyperbole? Hyperbole is also a figure of a speech for intentional and extreme exaggerations for emphasis or effect, and their purpose is adds humor, drama and intensity. For examples, I have told you millions times, nobody can say something million times. This hyperbole suggests a stress, frustration over repeated reminders. Getting my point or not? So next is I am so hungry I could eat a horse. Can you believe it? I could eat a horse means this humorous exaggerations highlight the extreme hunger. Getting my point or not? How it's not meant to be taken literally. So we will move the next example. She cried an ocean of tears means this hyperbole emphasizes someone who is crying a lot and suggesting a deep sadness. Getting my point or not? Now, I love you so much that I could bring down the moon and the stars from the sky. Can you believe it? These romantic exaggerations express the depth of someone's love by claiming they had do impossibles. So next is oxymoron. What do you mean by oxymorons? This is also figure of a speech. Means place two contradictory words together to create a unique meanings, and their purpose is highlights contrast. For examples, bittersweet. Something can be both happy and the sad at the same time, just like farewells after wonderful visit. Getting my point or not? Now, living dead. This paradoxical phrase for someone who is feels emotionally alive but physically lifeless. Next, Deafening silence means silence is so intense and it feels loud. Getting my point or not? Like a tense in a movement. Next is found missings means this humorous oxymorons suggest that someone who was supposed to be there was gone. Getting my point or not? Next is pretty ugly. This is a playful way of saying someone has an odd. Getting my point or not?